Greetings and welcome to Meet a CHM Family Member. My name is Cory MacDonald. I am the Engagement Director for the Choroideremia Research Foundation. Before we get going, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Biogen, Santen, Spark Therapeutics, and Genentech. And with me today, I have a very special guest who is literally from across the world from where I sit, and a fellow CHMer who also recently competed in the Paralympics. So I'd like everybody to meet my friend, Sam Harding. How you doing today, Sam?
Good, thanks, Cory. How are you?
Good, good. So why don't we go through, well, let's see, you're from Australia, and you mentioned you live in Canberra. Now, for those who aren't super up on, on Australia geography, whereabouts is Canberra located?
So Canberra's about 3 hours south of Sydney, and then 7 hours drive from Melbourne. So yeah, they just kind of put it in the middle of the two biggest cities in Australia.
Okay, and then you're originally from Perth, which is further across the,
yeah,
on the other side, right?
Perth's home for sure. Yeah, that's on the west coast, so that's about a four-hour flight. So bit of distance, but nothing too crazy.
Wow, that's nice. Yeah, Australia is on my bucket list. I'm going to get there someday.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
One of these days, anyway. So now you are a CHMer. Now, when were you diagnosed?
About 13, I was diagnosed with CHM, and yeah, no real family history was known about it before, I guess. Kind of came out of nowhere until maybe dug like a little bit deeper. And I guess my mum was a carrier, and her mum, or my grandma, and then her father, Mike, was sometimes complaining about like tunnel vision, but that was, yeah, a long time ago. So
yeah, we had a similar experience in my family, where I had a cousin who was on my mother's generational level who was first diagnosed, but my great grandfather, he passed away in like 1964 when I was a baby, and he was blind, but no one knew why. He was never diagnosed with anything at that point. But then, as it turned out, he fathered my grandmother, who then had my mom. So like your family, the went through two generations before something came up, or was like, oh, okay, so yeah, that's why I got diagnosed so early. But
yeah,
so now we're gonna get into your Olympic experience. But no, so obviously running is one of the things you do, but what other things do you like to do for, hobbies, activities, interests, passions?
Yeah, so I guess a lot of it's based around my sport. It's probably been the big focus of the last 10 years of my life. But between sport, I was studying part-time as a remedial massage therapy course. So I did a 2.5-year course over 5 years, pretty much doing like one subject a semester, and slowly got through that. And I've been working for 4.5 years now, doing that in Canberra, and when I go away on training camps. And then aside from that, doing things different from sport and study, like playing guitar, and I don't know, trying to get to the coast when you can. Canberra's about an hour and a half inland, so it's a bit different to Perth and the WA. So yeah, like to explore a little bit with some friends and that. And yeah, music's always good. So
yeah, it's one thing I've noticed over the years with talking with CHMers. There are so many CHMers that play guitar, or they play piano, or they play bass, or and me, I miss that gene. I have no talent for that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm very talented at it, but yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, awesome. Now, so let's dive into this, because I just find it really cool. So you recently competed in Tokyo at the Paralympics, running the 1,500 meters, and shout out to your mom, who FaceTimed me and and held her phone up to the TV so I could watch you run. I thought that was the coolest thing. But now, that was the end of the proverbial road for you, but your path to get to that point was one of a lot of ups and downs. So
Yeah,
why don't you take
probably,
us through that?
yeah, a couple more downs, I guess, than ups. I moved to Canberra in 2010 and had sights set on London in 2012, and sport was all pretty new to me then. So initially I thought, I'd go to London in 2012 and do well, and then probably move back to Perth and get started working, or maybe try the Winter Paralympics. But yeah, really found I enjoyed it, and the training and the lifestyle, and got to London, which was huge. Went to World Champs in 2011 and came fifth in the 800, and yeah, things were just kind of progressing on track, I guess. Then London in 2012, I was in the Olympic Village for the Paralympics, and a week before I just started to get really tired, and I was diagnosed with glandular fever. So the week leading into the race, I was sleeping 18 to 20 hours because I was, trying to rest for it and prepare. But yeah, then was getting worse, and went through a few options of what I could possibly do or potentially do. But at that time, and I'd spent, a fair while training for it, and I knew it wasn't going to be the performance I wanted to have. And I thought, Rio was only going to be another 4 years after that. So decided it'd be best for my health to pull the pin and just prepare for Rio. And then the following year, I was about running similar times again in the 800, and the Paralympic Committee cut lots of 200 and 800s across the Paralympic program because it's such a huge event. There's in the Olympics, I'll have the 100 meters male and female, but in the Paralympics, I'll have 100 meters male and female. And then there's, depending on the event, up to 24 different races. So it's, yeah, a massive program. So they cut lots of 200s and 800s. So at the time, I transitioned to the 400. That didn't quite go to plan for 2.5 years, and then end of 2015 decided to move up to the 1500 and moved to my now coach Philo Saunders, and he's a distance runner himself, exercise physiologist, and yeah, it's taken a while to get there. Missed out on Rio in 2016, but yeah, I got there in 2021. So yeah, it's been a long time, but a good time.
And you got there. That's the end result. Is you
Yeah, got there. Expectations are funny things. Yeah, a few months ago, I was just wanting to be there, and then when you get there, you always want to do a bit better. But yeah, pretty proud to have made it there, and yeah, couldn't have done it without all the support of family and friends and coaches and previous coaches. And yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not, I'm not a runner anymore. I was 40 years ago, but it's got to be a heck of a transition from 800 to 1500 meters. I mean, it's got to be a completely different training.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess was the 800 to start with, and then the 400. So then I was running 7, maybe 11 kilometers a week, and now it's not uncommon when things are going pretty well to run 120 to 130 kilometers a week. So it's a huge change, and I guess that's, yeah, there's no secrets in athletics. I guess it just took that much time to kind of progress and do the times at the right time, which is another huge part of it. And yeah, got there. So that was good.
And I would think that you got to have a little bit of natural speed to help you along too, because I know, years back again when I was a teenager, I did a lot of running. I played the real football, which the Americans call soccer. And but I was a fullback, and I was not. I could run all day, but I wasn't fast. I was I never had speed. I could run steadily and for a long time, but doing it.
Yeah. yeah, I guess that's probably one thing that's been good. Maybe as you tend to see as people get older, they increase in distance and duration rather than doing the quicker events. But yeah, it's been good to kind of have done the 400 and 800 in the past, and see what happens in the future.
So what was it like just going to, going to Tokyo and being in the village and hanging out with all the other athletes and
Yeah, it's
how did that
I
feel?
don't know,
I mean, it's got to be just a mind-blowing experience.
yeah, it's crazy. Like, I guess I had been exposed somewhat to it before, like world champs in 2011. It's like just the athletics team. So that was like crazy experience. You're around meeting people with like different disabilities, like amputees to cerebral palsy, to people in wheelchairs, and like pretty quickly, I don't know, within the day, like, oh, they're just normal people. And it's a super cool experience to like be a part of. And then London didn't quite go to plan, but like I walked to the dining hall one day. We couldn't manage it after that, but you're just seeing like people from different countries, and it's people like different prosthetics, like some people from less privileged countries. It's like they're walking on a minimum to you go to like some of the guys in Australia, and they got like these top genium legs which are like made for people in the army and that. So it's just like this huge spectrum. We walk past like the Brazilian like vision impaired soccer team, and it's like a train of people just holding shoulders like 20 long, and they're all just getting guided by one person that can see a bit. They go into the dining hall. It's unbelievable.
That is
Yeah,
just
so
awesome.
yeah, it's super cool to see, and just like just see things completely different now. And then to be there like this year with like my training group and the rest of the Australian team was pretty awesome. So one of my training partners, Jared Clifford, so he's vision impaired too. So we were racing in the 1500 together. He holds the world record in that category, and so he's got macular juvenile degeneration. So it's pretty much like the opposite to what I've got. He's got like a little bit of peripheral vision, and I've got a little bit of central vision. So we're all kind of the same category or class the same. But you're kind of competing against people who have completely different sight to you. But we've been talking about it for years to be on the start line together in the final. So it's pretty special to be a part of. And then just before we're running out, we kind of warmed up together. You do like a 40-minute call room where they check everyone. And then just before we ran out, trying to get us in numbered order, and Jared's just saying, oh, we'll just wait at the back and we'll both run out together. So it's pretty special, pretty awesome.
That is just so cool. Many years ago, I met a gentleman who was a Paralympian. He had RP and was fully blind. But now mind you, fully blind, and his events were javelin, discus, and shot put.
Yeah.
And and I told him, I said, I love you, but I'm not going to be in the same stadium as you if you're throwing a spear.
Yeah, the field events are just impressive to watch. Watching them do long jump, they've got so there's 3 different categories. So T and F, which are track and field, and then 3, 2, and 1, and then class 1 is for vision. So really, I'm T1, 2, or class 1, which is vision, and then category 2. So T11 is fully blind, and they wear goggles and like bandanas so that no one can see anything, and they're doing long jump, and the guard will be standing at the takeoff board, and they're just clapping, and they'll clap like louder, and the guys just running as fast as they can, and then when they stop the clapping, then they just jump, and it's full trust. And there's some crazy videos on YouTube of them missing pits and landing on tables, and
wow,
like full commitment.
Yeah, because I mean, all it takes is just as you're running, one
Mm,
slight difference in angle, and then
yeah,
suddenly you're not running on the same line you were running on before.
yeah. Doesn't take much. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
it's
impressive.
it's just amazing. It just amazes me.
Mhm.
Well, let's dive into the CHM side of things a little bit here.
Yeah.
So now, how has CHM personally affected you? Like, how has CHM affected your life?
Hugely, I'd say. And not necessarily in a bad way either. Like I'm doing something now like I really love and pretty fortunate to be a part of and learn so many lessons from. Don't know what I'd be doing if I didn't have it, to be honest. But yeah, just being able to run, which is really cool, and even like represent my country, which is huge. It's had like a massive effect. I guess some things maybe I haven't been able to do would be like driving, but I've never tried to drive. I think when I was 16 or 17, it's like when you try to go get your L's and that. I got my eyes tested at that stage and I had less than 30 degrees vision, maybe when I was 16. And then they're like, oh, yeah, to get your license, you need at least 120. So, like, that was maybe something I missed out on, but having not done it, not too fast, and then never the designated driver either. So, there's some perks.
Exactly. Yeah, I've always said, we get to be designated drinkers.
Yeah, yeah.
I had the same situation where I made the conscious decision. I had, in a way lucky because I grew up in a very large family that was riddled with choroideremia. So
Yeah.
I had cousins that were, 22, 25 years older than I,
Mm.
and knowing what they went through, having to give up driving and things like that. So I made the decision when I was 15 to just not ever drive. And and
Yeah.
that old saying, you don't miss what you never had.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm kind of, I haven't made a lot of brilliant decisions in my life, but I think that was one of them.
Yeah.
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 That type of thing. So now what other adjustments have you had to make in your life with choroideremia? Do you use like any types of adaptive technologies yet, or like
Yeah, so probably in the last 2 years, I think I've noticed some, like I've had to do things maybe a little bit differently, more so around travel. And it probably comes back to sport too. Like I can't really afford to, I know, hurt myself in a way. Like, so what I find is going to new places now, um, I'd be a little bit more cautious. So I don't know if that's because I've like lost a little bit more sight, or it's like I can't really afford to, roll my ankle. Like happened a few years ago, but I rolled my ankle and I broke my ankle from running, and yeah, so I had to miss a few weeks running, and it was just at the wrong time. So I yeah can't really afford to do that now. So like when I'm at new places, there's yeah new things that I'm aware of. Like 2 years ago or pre-COVID, I started working with Vision Australia and doing like mobility course. So there was a instructor. He was awesome, and so we just kind of went through all sorts of different techniques. So I guess there's like the physical ones, like using a cane and things like that, to apps and devices that I can use. So for me, I found probably there are a few during the day, like feel like I'm pretty reasonable about getting around. So it's more so at night in new places, I'm a little more unfamiliar. So there's an app called Lazaro where you can set pins for particular spots, and then it'll give you street directions, and then it can even have a beacon in it. So once you turn around to the right spot, it'll beep more once you're in the right direction, and feel pretty confident just setting off in that direction and finding my way around.
nice? I like that. That's a good idea. I'll have to unfortunately with apps, like sometimes they're available worldwide, other ones not, but
Yeah, I'll send it through.
that is cool. Now we got to meet in 2018 at
Yeah,
Dallas at the conference. Now you were as you mentioned, you were, when you were diagnosed, you were pretty much the only person in your family. So what was your conference experience like, being surrounded by a whole bunch of other CHMers?
yeah, the conference was amazing. It was awesome to be a part of, and like the timing ended up being super lucky. I was in Flagstaff a few weeks before on a training camp, and it just so happened that the conference was in Dallas. So while you're on the other side of the world, a few hours on the flights, not too far. And my parents actually came over and we made a trip of it. So we came up from Florida to Dallas and met everyone there, which was um, very welcoming. Just felt pretty comfortable around everyone straight away, really. And then listening to people around, like when we broke off into the 3 different groups or 4 different groups, sitting around with everyone else and just hearing like stories. I'm like, oh, that's how I did that too. Or you just hear these super familiar stories. And I guess, not knowing anyone before with the same condition, it was kind of like nice to hear, I guess.
Yeah, it's always, it's always nice in my mind to be able to interact with other people who get it.
Yeah.
It's it's always because you try to explain it to people, even someone with a different visual impairment, and
Yeah.
it's tough for them to grasp.
I was going to say, so in Canberra, there's another boy from Perth, Chad, and he's got albinism, so his eyesight's affected too. So he's a sprinter, T13 sprinter. And then like there's Jared too, I was talking about before, with retinitis juvenile macular degeneration. So like all 3 of us are vision impaired, and not one of us have like similar sight, I guess. So it's it's cool. It's just part.
We have a here in Massachusetts, we have the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind, and our local community liaison, who is now retired, had macular degeneration, and he and I used to joke that between the 2 of us, we would have almost good sight.
Yeah, that's like exactly what Jared and I say.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
pretty.
So now, when you went to the conferences, now did you attended like the science updates and things like that? What did you think of that?
Yeah, I tried to go for all of them, really. It was just like crazy to kind of hear from all the researchers, like just what's going on. Like you kind of keep up, or a little bit, like reading different articles and hearing things from other people, but to be there and like to meet all the professors and scientists and researchers, like it's huge experience and super cool to be a part of and hear what's going on. And like there are so many different parts which they're all working on, from gene therapy to stem cells to bionic work. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's incredible how far things have come in a relatively short time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's always blows my mind. I mean,
yeah.
But so now, what kind of well, let me ask you this first. The work that the CRF has done over the years, what has that meant to you and your family?
Yeah, it's huge, I guess. Like probably more so for the second part, I guess, like family. I think, I don't know, maybe not that I guess like I'm pretty comfortable with how like things are affecting me in some ways, I guess. Like, be nice for it not to happen or whatever else, but it's good just to always know that there's a network around of people who have been through it before, and you can always, well, I always feel like I can reach out to anyone pretty much and ask you guys for any advice, which is like pretty special. I don't know if like heaps of other people, with other conditions, like would have the same opportunity or feel as comfortable. So that's like been awesome. And then, yeah, I'm sure you've helped out with the family like huge amounts too.
Yeah, it's it's why we call it the CHM family.
Yeah,
Really, I
yeah,
think that's one of the things, it's my opinion anyways, that has
yeah.
made our
I think,
organization special over the years.
yeah, I think me like feeling so comfortable that's probably a huge part of it. That you know all the support's there for me and everyone else as well, which is, yeah, I'm just the little product of it all.
So I want to put yourself in the shoes. Now, you're a younger guy to begin with, so you got to think even younger. But
Not too young.
put yourself in the shoes. You're talking to the parents of a younger guy who, like, preteen or a young teen or something like that, or the young teen themselves. And what type of life advice would you give to the parents or a younger CHMer?
I just found the environment's always a huge part of it. So like, yeah, there's the physical environment, but just I think going through school, I probably kept it a secret for a lot longer than what I maybe had planned for it to be, but that's just the way it went. But then moving to Canberra and the AAS, where you're moving for sport and everyone knows you're vision impaired, was just so much easier. It was like I didn't have to stress about telling someone. It's like everyone kind of already knew, which was really good. And going through school in year 12, it was much easier by the time where most people knew by then than when I was in year 9, going to parties or doing a knock and run in the dark. So yeah, I think if you can like tell people, let more people know, like everyone's, I think once people know, no one's not going to help if you ask for it. And yeah, that's probably another one, just asking for a hand or being a little bit vulnerable. People are always willing to help, and most people like helping. So like that's another huge thing. If someone asked me for help, I'd try help them. So it's no different if I ask for it as well.
Yeah, that's it. And of course, all of us guys, we come equipped with the stereotypical male ego, so it's a big hurdle for a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
guys to actually break down it. But you're correct in that, learning how to ask for help, because I was one of those, I'm fine, and then I'd walk into something, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just more work if you get hurt or something else happens. It's, yeah, when an issue could have been avoided, but sometimes you got to make the mistakes to learn. So
Yeah, and get a few scars along the way, and eventually,
yeah,
if
you'll have
you're
tough.
lucky.
Yeah,
Well, listen, I would love, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your Olympic experience. I just find that fascinating.
no,
Do you
thanks.
have any other last thoughts you want to share, or?
Not that I can think of, but yeah, I'm sure there'll be a few more discussions to have.
Oh yeah. All right, my friend. Well, listen, again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. So yeah, awesome to be a part of.
All right, and thank you to everyone who is watching, and thank our sponsors. And we'll see you on the next session of Meet a CHM Family Member.